All right, Tony Katz, I promised you I'd go back to the issue that you brought up, the debate. You questioned whether it would happen.
Yeah.
Why? Make the case.
I make the argument that the conversation about the microphone, to which Doug is alluding to, and it's weird to call you by your first name, sir. It's awkward. It's freaking me out.
It's been called before, so.
Well,
Sir Doug.
Thanks,
so what Dougie Fresh is discussing here about the microphone is that's not that conversation is a meaningless conversation. They agreed with the Biden team to have it muted. Now she wants it unmuted because she wants that I'm speaking Donald moment. She wants that interruption moment. We all agree with that. But what happens if we're the people saying that she can't do an interview on her own? She can't speak as Dougie Doug mentioned about a teleprompter. We've all seen her ad lib, and the word salad goes on for forever. If there's a real fear here, why not create more blockades, issues to a debate to then be able to not have the debate? If the plan is to let the media carry the water, why would I think with all of this that's getting discussed and agreed to right here that this wouldn't be the end result? No debates. Thank you very much.
I think that Trump, all right, let me know what you guys think. I mean, Tony's thrown out a lot there.
Yeah, I think it's about like the discussion before the Biden debate. I think there was a lot of discussion. It'll never happen. At first it was said Trump won't, then they said Biden won't, then it actually happened. I think it's got to happen, Tony.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. And I don't disagree with you. If I was them, I've shared this story before. One of my first campaigns I ever run, we were into a runoff. It was the first 4 days after the runoff, and I sat down with the opponent, and we did a early morning radio interview. And I was tired. I wasn't there. My opponent was a little feisty about it, answered some questions, popped back. I didn't pop back well. I remember getting back in my truck. I was tired, and I looked down at my phone, and my campaign consultant, my main campaign manager, put on there. I looked down, I saw his name, and I said, well, maybe this will be some encouragement. I looked down, and all he put was pathetic. He said, if that's the way you're going to be, he said, we'll just run paid media for the rest of the campaign. These things matter. Wow. And so I think what we got here is they would love to run paid media because she is probably not going to be up to task, but they're looking for the gimmick, Tony. You're exactly right. They're trying to gimmick their way through this debate now, and I think that's what you'll see more and more discussion about, trying to find the gimmick. The gimmick will be to get Donald Trump upset. The gimmick
So
will
wait, Doug, if she says yes, okay, if Trump says yes, fine, no mics. I mean, whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. You think there'll be another hurdle?
I don't think they honestly can find one. I think they've got to go through with this because the narrative already is that she's incompetent. That's the narrative right now. And only so much of that narrative can go to that 10% that we're looking at, the 45 and the 45 that are already spoken for. That 10% narrative, that's one thing that could actually begin to play into the fact that she is not competent enough to be president, in my opinion.
I think there's going to be a September 10th debate. I'm more concerned about whether there's going to be a second debate. And I think there's already drama happening with that. If you remember, the Harris campaign put out a statement, I believe it was last week, that said the debate about debates is over. And then, of course, we have this whole mic thing. And in that same statement, the Harris campaign said that the Trump campaign agreed to their conditions with the debate, agreed to their debate format, and that if President Trump shows up to a September 10th debate, then there would be a debate in October. I've never heard of a debate in October. President Trump proposed 3 debates, September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th with NBC News, which we would think the Harris campaign would love. When I spoke to the Trump campaign about it, they said that the Harris campaign was lying, that there's been no discussion about an October debate, and was unsure where they were getting this October forum suggestion from. And so I think that that's going to be something that the media should focus on. I know we're going to be hammering it. We have been hammering it. But of course, it's going to be harder for mainstream media to be trying to push for a second forum. They're once again going to be pacified by this first debate. Maybe they'll want to see Harris do a second one if she does so well. But I just think that she's not going to show up to a second one.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Reagan, you cover the White House, and in all the conversation about Kamala Harris being incompetent, it's clear that the White House thought she was incompetent. She was backbench of backbench. They put her on tasks that had no meaning. They gave her titles and they didn't care, like borders are, what she did with it. I'm curious, you watched it happen. Why is it that the Republicans aren't focused more on how Joe Biden didn't have any faith in Kamala Harris? Why should America have faith in Kamala Harris?
That's a really great question. I think it's something that we've raised in our office as well. Wasn't it just months ago that Democrats were considering whether Harris should be taken off the ticket because she was dragging
There were
Joe
op-eds
Biden
in the
down?
Washington Post.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's, that's definitely a blind spot that Republicans are missing. And perhaps the White House doesn't want their hands on it. And that's why we haven't seen Biden for 2 weeks. And Karine Jean-Pierre has been who knows where, not taking our questions from the White House press briefing room.
I don't think they're avoiding. I think Biden would love to. They're just keeping him away from a mic. I think he is chomping at the bit to get back at Obama and get back at Clinton. And because you can just sort of see it. I mean, he's just furious about it. But here's another question. I want to throw this out because it's hit me as we're talking about debates. We're talking about networks. Since when does it become a fact in these discussions that only ABC, NBC, and CBS are the places for debate? The Democrats will only run to ABC, CBS, and NBC. When Fox News is brought up, this is the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. When Fox News will come up, well, no, we can't do Fox News. They're hot. Okay, they're one of the largest media outlets on cable TV. In fact, the largest. I mean, you look at it, MSNBC, nowhere close. CNN, nowhere close. No, the others, as much as we want to. Newsmax, none of them close. But yet, it's just accepted that a Democrat can say, I'm not doing a Fox News. I mean, when did we digress so far in this country and it be such to the level that you can't even consider and not even be held accountable for saying, I will not go on to a certain network and speak? Open for suggestions.
Reagan, you want it first?
Yeah,
Sean?
I was gonna say Reagan. Reagan's the one that's in the briefing room every day.
This is my little plug. If you're a Fox News executive who's involved in these conversations, call me because I want to know, seriously, how hard did Fox News push Kamala Harris to get there on that debate stage? When September 4th rolls around, is Fox going to air for 2 hours President Trump standing at a podium with an empty podium next to him? He should do a town hall. And that's,
I think, right? Isn't he going to do something?
Yeah, they've alluded to me that they, that could be something that they're going to do. But
the empty podium.
Yeah, this is something that they should double down on, whether it's Fox or the Trump campaign. I felt like there wasn't even enough uproar about this when President Biden proposed all of his conditions. And he said, I'm only doing it on these 3 networks. It's another blind spot I think Republicans are missing.
I think that's correct.
I think that they cover for each other. This is the same thing with the Kamala interview that I was saying, right? Once you choose a softball interview, the rest of them will protect you. And so to your question, Doug, it's not like ABC or CBS is going to be like, I can't believe you're not doing it on Fox. They have an equal right to host. They don't care. Like it's a game of numbers, and Fox is one, and then everyone else, not just the broadcast, but the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Associated Press, they're not coming to Fox. I mean, how many times have we seen instances where Fox was like kicked out of the pool? Didn't Obama do a bunch of like bad stuff to Fox, and no one rushed to their defense, even though they care about press access and transparency and the First Amendment? They don't care about it when it's not them. And that's in my opinion, having been at the podium, they're all for, these principles, except when it's somebody else.
It's a good point that more should have been made of the fact that if you won't do a debate on Fox, who do you think you are to decide the rules? But I mean, this plays into, people aren't going to like it, a weakness of Trump. He just wants it. Game on. Let's go. Wherever it is, where we're going to do it. We're going to do it this network, that network. You got yourself somebody's living room. Let's go. I'll be there. Someone bring the Diet Cokes, bring the burgers. We're good. Like it doesn't mattered to him. And I think that it should a little bit, because there could have been a really fascinating story of, wait, you don't get to decide how this goes. I'm showing up at Fox on the 4th. You're not there. We're not doing it. That could have been a very interesting fight. I just don't know if it would have been a fight that took away from maybe other things and other opportunities. That I don't have an answer for.
Yeah, here's a great ad that the Trump team could run on the 4th on the Fox side. Remember when she got up and said, "You want to say those things? Say it on my face. I'm here."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Doug, I want to switch gears for a second, because Monday, if I'm doing this right, was the 3rd anniversary of that Afghanistan withdrawal that resulted in 13 soldiers being killed. Trump is the only one to go to Arlington to actually do anything publicly. The White House released a statement for the first time, at least that I can recall, acknowledging the names of the 13 killed. Trump goes to Arlington, he lays a wreath, and then he goes to Section 60, where they're buried, with some of the families. So it wasn't just like a one and done. He actually spent some quality time with the families going to the gravesite. Then the controversy about whether or not his staffer or something took a photo or pushed somebody, whatever. And I'm like, wait a second. Why isn't the controversy no one in the leadership that made that decision, Kamala Harris, who was the last person in the room, or vice president, or the president who is on a vacation from his vacation, did anything publicly? And Trump's catching the flack, Doug? It blows my mind sometimes how backwards the priorities are. He was the one guy that showed up, that paid honor to the sacrifice of these 13 soldiers and their families. And he's catching flack for someone maybe taking a photo. And yet President Biden's on vacation from the vacation. Kamala Harris hasn't ever publicly said their names, met with them, called them, nothing to the families. And he's the guy that's getting the negative press.
Yeah, everybody was talking about, and I heard some on the, even right-leaning press and everything complaining that Trump wasn't doing enough in campaigning in August and all this stuff. And over the past 5 days, he's been everywhere, and he's done exactly the kind of campaigning that he's best at. The small groups, then going to the little speeches and doing it. He's excellent at that. You and Sean, you know this. I mean, we've talked to him. Everybody here. I mean, when you get with him, especially in those small groups, he is really charismatic. He is somebody who can really relate in those times. It was amazing to me because the reporting has it that they were reached out to the White House on multiple occasions for Biden or Harris or someone. Are they going to acknowledge this? And they basically blew it off for 2 or 3 weeks beforehand. I've seen that reported. Now, after it happened, they thought it wasn't that big a deal. Here's what I believe happened. It was a uh-oh moment for them. They thought nobody's going to worry. Trump goes, nobody will care. And then all of a sudden, they started seeing the pictures of him holding the wreath, putting it on, and then screenshot to Joe Biden laying on the beach scrolling with his phone. They showed Harris being nowhere out. I believe this is a media-generated controversy because he was getting too much press that laid it out for him. There is no problem. There is no picture problem. There is nothing. This is just Washington, D.C. made up. I'll just be nice on this podcast, bull crap.
So good. So good. Oh, that is, I love that. I love that take because it's right. I mean, I was like, it wasn't until they realized how they blew it. Tony, did you get a lot of callers on your show that were outraged about what happened or that this was an issue for them?
Not particularly, but more commentary of, hey, did you see this? A lot of social media people who follow me on X at Tony Katz, that's a plug, sharing that side-by-side shot that Doug is talking about. It's again, you go back to this concept of iconography. What does an image tell us? It's like that image of Chris Christie on the beach chair. Everybody else is shut down and locked down, and there's Chris Christie just hanging out, getting a tan. These are the kinds of things. Everybody else is locked down, and there's Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done. The image tells more than a 1,000 words, and in this case, that side by side is an example of where your commander-in-chief should be and the commander-in-chief that unfortunately we have. And I think that is part of, you want to talk about something that should be utilized in the campaign going forward. It's absolutely that. But it is, I think, a solid take that they realized they made a mistake and then tried to make up for it by creating the scandal in the other place. But I actually think that whole story is dead now. That scandal existed for the cable news set that has already made their decision and is working outrageously hard to get Kamala Harris elected. At certainly that dog don't hunt in the Midwest, and I don't think it does for the Georgia voter either.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.